G'day mates, welcome back to another episode of the MindMate podcast. This is episode number 50 and my guest needs no introduction. This is the one and only
Siobhan Macleod.
Yes, my lovely partner in life and soon to be professional partner.
Yes.
So today was the official signing.
Yes.
I know. Do you want to tell the listeners?
Yeah, I don't even know how to say it, but am I officially a business owner?
I would say so.
I'm a business owner. I opened up the Breathwork Shed on the rear of St Kilda Road. Yeah, so my own little breathwork meditation space. I'm so excited.
I know. So this is going to be a whole podcast dedicated to learning more about breathwork, learning more about the mind, trauma, what triggers are, and how we can kind of transcend those and understand more about ourselves. And this is actually the intro of the podcast, Siobhan.
What do you mean?
This is the intro. We haven't even started the show yet.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so I thought we could do the intro a bit together as well.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
For sure.
Yeah. Because you've been with me from episode 0 to episode now 50.
I know. What episode was I last time?
16, 15?
Yeah, okay. And
Yeah.
that was you practicing with that mic.
I know.
And now I'm 50.
And now you're 50. I know. And I couldn't ask for a better guest for episode 50.
Thank you.
It's good. I love you very much.
It's perfect timing.
It is perfect timing.
Signing the lease, opening my own business.
I know. It's going to be awesome. So, guys, without further ado, I give you Siobhan Macleod.
Yay!
The pale blue dot.
Siobhan Macleod, welcome to the MindMate podcast.
Thank you.
How you feeling?
Excited.
Yes. This is like your third podcast. Or second podcast.
Second.
First two with me.
Yes.
I like it.
And I've got one lined up.
I know, you do. You
couple lined
You've
up.
got a few lined up now,
Yeah.
actually, I think.
Yeah.
The Mind Goal episode, they want to do something with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're drinking wine. This was not my idea. This was Siobhan's idea.
Always mine.
Yes.
I'm celebrating.
I know.
Signed a lease today.
Okay, so, do you want to go into a little bit about how you found breathwork meditation?
We were in Bali and we were all sitting at a long community table, and I think we got invited by members when we're at the gym we were working at. And as I do, I was asking everyone, "Oh, what do you do?" And obviously I froth meditation. And then lovely Sarah Silverstein was there and she said, "Oh, I do breathwork meditation." I was like, immediately, cool, like, what's that? And I actually thought it was standing up, like breathing. I thought you'd be standing up with your eyes closed breathing.
Like a horse.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, we should totally set up a class in the gym. That would fit well with us because we were, trying to get members to come in and people to come in, and I loved meditation, so I was killing two birds with one stone. And then we just set it up and that was it. Both of us jumped in and did a class.
Yeah. And
afterwards I was like, what the fuck was that? And I was like, I need to teach this. And that was it.
I know. It actually, it came at a good time.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah.
It was really deep. So what happened? Like, what happened in that first experience? Because you had no idea what was going to happen, did you?
No.
No expectations.
Nothing. And I was glad I didn't ask, because normally I'm like, what is it? What do you do? What do I have to bring? Like, I like to be prepared and know what I'm getting myself into, especially when it comes to like training or meditation. Like, what sports bra do I wear? Can I bring a cushion? Yeah. Like, I don't know. I just didn't know anything about it.
And so you go into this space and Sarah is like facilitating this meditation. She kicks us off with an exercise to kind of get to know the person next to you a bit more.
Yeah, I can't really remember it, but I feel like, we just we all went around saying like who we were, what we did, just real quickly, introduction, just to kind of relax everyone, I think. And then she introduced us on how we do the breath, and we got started.
And then, so take someone through kind of what happens in a breathwork meditation space.
So You obviously go in, you get the introduction. I don't want to say too much because I want people to come
Yeah.
and just fucking try it.
They will.
Because sometimes when you say it, they're like, oh, no. Anyway, I'll say it very briefly, but you just have to come and try one at the Breathwork Shed.
Yes.
You breathe into your belly to release the emotions that we all store down there. We kind of hold our breath and push them all down. I think that's the best way to explain it. And then, so you breathe into your belly, into your heart, and then you exhale all the kind of negative energy or stuck trauma or all your joyful or your blissness, and then you kind of repeat the breath work for like 20 minutes. Then you sit in a 10-minute meditation with no breathing, so you kind of relax back into it.
Yeah, because it's kind of like that meditation at the end is so important. It's like a contemplation exercise.
Well, if you do, like if you do yoga and you're in savasana and you just kind of lie down, it's the same as that. Like you're letting the body relax and absorb everything that's just happened and your mind and it's like, who doesn't like lying down for 10 minutes and being cozy? But you still lie down. You lie down the whole time, but the last 10 minutes you're like, oh, that was sick. I was.
I know, because it can be crazy, like the meditation experience.
Yeah, you did it too.
Yeah, I loved it. You took a much more profound liking to it, I think, because it just connected with you.
What happened?
Yeah, exactly. It just connected with you in so many more deeper ways. Maybe partly due to the fact that I wasn't going as deep as you, or it just was a different time for me. But those meditation experiences were fascinating, and that last kind of 10-minute meditation experience at the end. Meditation takes many different forms and names and definitions, but is basically just like a reflection of the exercise. And I think it's always good to reflect on an exercise that takes you out of your mind and into your body, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's breath work, whether it's dancing. It's good to have those moments of contemplation, be like, oh shit, I actually really learnt more about myself there. I didn't get much from it there. Here's why I would go back and do it again. I think so much of the reason as to why we get stuck in this day and age is because we spend too much time in our head.
Yeah, of course, but I don't think people know that until they sit in meditation and they're like, oh my god, my mind's racing. And the idea is not to stop that, but people don't realize that that's what's happening. Like, can you sit with yourself for 5 minutes and let it race? Like, yeah,
well, I mean, like, why is it racing? Have you listened to it? Maybe it's telling you some things that you should perhaps listen to.
Like what's uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe I think people find as well that even just with a simple reflection exercise, that what they were running from or perhaps escaping, distracting themselves from is actually not that uncomfortable in the end. It's just something that can be integrated as a ritual into their life. Yeah,
absolutely.
So why did you want to become a breathwork facilitator then? You had this incredible experience, but why do you want to make that next jump?
I think because I love meditation. I've experienced trauma in my life, and the stories that came up while I was doing it, and the stuff that was happening to me while I was doing it. Like, someone was like, oh, you've got like a forearm injury. I've had forearm injuries forever. But then spiritually and looking at it through like my body, it was actually because there was areas around like my heart that were protected and trapped and closed into, and that needed to be released. And so it's like, okay, so maybe like it wasn't an injury. And then the stories that came through from childhood that I would have never remembered, and then I'm like telling them to my mum, and my mum's like, yeah, like how did you know that? I'm like, oh well, it came out through my breath work. So stuff like that you're just like, you would, I mean, there's another way that you can look at an injury, or there's another way you can look at your life, or there's another way you can see why that's the person that you are. I was like hooked on it, and I'm like, fuck, if I can do this and tell other people this is amazing. And it's just like obviously I'm a sports coach and I love fitness and I love coaching, but it's like I'm kind of like, well, everyone can do that, everyone can go and get fit, but I'm like, I want to be there when you're crying or you're going through your shit, and I want to be like, I've been there too. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I see people going through it, I like just want to like hug them or just be there when they go through it, because I mean, trauma can be anything. It can be someone, I think it was a podcast I listened to, and someone was like, it can be someone from when you were 4 or 5 called you ugly. It's like, you're ugly, and then that's your trauma, and you don't know why you don't have any self-love or self-worth. It's because someone when you were 5 said you were ugly, but you can't remember that. Like, there's so many little things that are trauma. People think it's like, oh, if you've been like, which obviously is still trauma, if you've been in like war or car accidents, and which I love in Well Motorbike.
You were in two, yeah.
But people think that's trauma, and it's not. Like, it's so many little things that happen throughout your life. Like, pretty much everyone.
Well, it's not just that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, everyone I've spoke to pretty much has some sort of trauma. Like, I'm trying to find one person that's not got any.
Yeah. And so how do you know if you have trauma? Like, if you're someone that's kind of new to this space but is really interested in, you know, progressing into that inner journey, how do you know if you do have some trauma? Because everyone does, like you said, but how do you know if it's like negatively affecting your life?
Well, just look at your life and look at where you're not progressing. Like, fuck, there's so many. That's like a whole other fucking podcast.
Yeah. Well, let's go and do it. I want to hear something.
I feel like just look at the area in your life you feel that you could probably do better or improve on, or whatever's holding you back, and it's probably related to trauma. Like, seriously. Because it's
stopping you from. There's something stopping you from growing in that area.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, why is that stopping you now from? Yeah. Okay.
Or what's like something that's always on in your mind or playing in your mind that you're like, oh, I wish you would just fuck off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because that's a really good point as well. I think one of the reasons why I always love our chats is because you know, we look into maybe the fact that the inner critic isn't just this thing that you should neglect, but it's actually some sort of like, you know, I don't want to say the word messenger, but like it's a tool that is actually trying to communicate something with you. So how did breathwork help you with that then? With that voice in your head?
Well, it definitely brought up the thing in my forearms. So like that was the main thing for me, because your arms kind of curl up into like, they just, I don't want to say too much, but they can get a little bit tense if you've got like maybe a protection around your heart sort of thing. And then when I learned that it was something to do with my heart, I'm like, oh, well, that's weird. I'm going to just like really dig into this myself and meditate on it and see what's wrong with what's going on there with these forearms and see if I can release it. And the more and more breath work I did, the more they released. And I'm like, because I was studying what was going on with my heart. So yeah, like it helped me in that way. And obviously it helped me with stuff. Oh, it just makes you feel amazing. Like, you know, like when you come out of it, you're like, fuck, I feel like I don't even know who said it. Like, it feels like you're exfoliating your day. I'm like, yes. Like, you just feel fresh. You've kind of lifted some shit out of your body. Like, it feels good.
Yeah, it does. It feels good to not have to. Yeah, it's almost kind of like you're shaking your feet out of the quicksand that you were drowning in for a long. Because it's difficult sometimes to just take any reflection exercise, because
because you're looking into the stuff that you don't want to.
Yeah, definitely.
But I love it.
Yes, I know you're very good at it.
I'm like,
you're a lot
where else
better.
am I shit? Show me.
You're a lot better than I am at doing it. So what would you say to someone then that is interested, but is also perhaps a little bit hesitant at doing
Come
that?
to the Breathwork Shed. I'll help you.
I did not script that.
I'll be here. Seriously. If someone's like, nah, I just want people to come try it. Like, you know, it kind of looks like, what, you're going to teach me how to breathe? Yeah. And release all your shit.
Definitely.
I'm just like, I'm so keen for someone to like come in and be like, oh, look, I don't have anything, nothing will come up. I'm like, yeah, cool. Let's go. You know, I think that's like the coach in me. I'm like, I'm fit, like I'm fine. Yeah, cool. Let me see you overhead squat that bar.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But anyone can apply some form of resistance and then adapt to that. We always have growth and learning and stuff to do.
Yeah, and it's just, I think every single human being on the planet has room for growth and healing. Everyone. And that's where it's going to help, if you're willing to take the risk.
So we moved from Bali, and then we went up to Scotland to visit your lovely mother. And then we stayed in France for a couple of months. And during that time in France, you booked a course to actually become a facilitator of this. Take us through the course.
Oh God. Well, it's on my YouTube channel. I think I've got one more day still to post, but I did every day. Oh my God. Like the course, I've done so many courses throughout my life, like so many, it's ridiculous. And this was the one and only course that was completely life-changing. Like absolutely life-changing. The people I met were just like family. David Elliott, who facilitated it, was amazing. I just learned so much about myself and how to help others. And it's just, like they call it holding space, and it's just like being there for someone else while they go through it. Like the breath is what's helping you. You're doing it yourself. Like I'm not telling you what to do, or I'm not helping you. It was just so good to know that, like, you know, no, everyone's doing it by themselves. So like I can't even remember. We did like day one, and it was like half a day because, you know, it's pretty intense, and we all just kind of talked about what breathwork was, like how the schedule's going to play out sort of thing, and how it affects the body and stuff. And then I think day 2 and day 3, it was like day 2 we talked about how we were with money, I'm sure, and then like day 3 was like self-love and self-worth, because obviously that ties in together. And then the last day was like he held a really cool breathwork session for all of us, and we went over groups and how to do groups. We talked about pregnancy and couples, like all the different areas. And like I think day 3 was like my hardest day. I cried like 50 times, and you know, it brings lots of stuff up because we had to write all about it, and I'm like, I've never wrote about it. You know, everyone's like, oh, journal, you should journal, everyone should journal, mental health journal. And I'm like, no, like I don't want to sit, I love blogging, but that's on my computer. But everyone's like, you've got to write it, pen to paper, it does something. Well, it fucking does, because I did it on my course, and I was like crying onto my paper. I'm like, ew, like this works, damn it.
Yeah. So why was it so hard? Like, take someone through that.
I think because they asked stuff like the self-worth stuff was really hard for me, which I didn't even know. Like, obviously I think most people have some sort of thing they maybe don't like about their body or themselves, or they're, you know, trying to prove something. But for me, it was just being like, I've had like shitty relationships in the past, and I've probably been like subconsciously like, oh, what's wrong with me? Like, why me? They've done it to me. There's more than one person done this to me. And then the self-worth, I was like, oh, and that really came up. And when I was growing up a lot, like family would be saying that I was like selfish, you're selfish, you're selfish. And it was really, because I mean the ages of 0 to 7, if you're a parent and you're watching this is when your kid's learning, like it's a computer. You're putting the computer into them 0 to 7, and then that's their life. So someone's saying something to you, like I just remember being called selfish, when really looking back at it, I was just individual. I knew what I wanted, like, and that's just what I was under the age of 7. I was independent and liked things the way I like things, because I think
it's hard for a child to actually be selfish.
So that all came up, like all that sort of stuff, and I was like, wow, I really need to like look into all of this and know that like however people have hurt me, that's their stuff, and however I was brought up, that like, you know, your parents are just doing the best. They were doing their blueprint parenting, which I will probably do, and my granny probably did, and so it's just getting all that stuff like up and out, and like, you know, there's reasons for it, and it's not like, I mean, maybe I'm to blame for some of it, but you know, it's not 100% your shit. So that was really tough.
Yeah, I think the shame that comes around negative experiences in life is perhaps like even the harder thing to get through when you actually are undertaking things like this, because we hold shame and we hold resistance, and you know, we want to feel like you know, there is a place for us, and we want to feel connected to others, but when things didn't go our way, and when things were traumatic in the past, it can be very hard not to shine a negative light on that. Which sounds like it was bloody difficult, and I've had shitty experiences with that in the past as well. OCD is by definition like a shame disorder, because you just resent parts of yourself, and you constantly applying that resistance to you know, the way you think you should have been and the way you think you are now, and all that sort of stuff. So you get to day 3. What? Because there aren't. This is one of the reasons why I love you, but there aren't many people that would go down into the corner reaches where all of this stuff is coming up, and then want to continue to keep doing it.
Oh yeah, I was frothing. I was like, if I didn't cry so fucking hard in a breathwork session, because we held space for each other each day, I was like, fuck's sake. I was like, there must be more in there. There's got to be more. I'm like, come on. Like, I wanted to like cry out, because I'm like, I just wanted everything to like get out, and I know that's not the best thing either, because every session can be completely different. So, you know, like I had a really, really joyful one, a really cool one, and then I had the really, really tough, hard ones where like everything was just like, oh, this is gross. Like, I don't like it. But yeah, and now I just like want to do it all the time. Yeah.
And we're such losers. We just fucking talk about trauma and fear and the mind all the time.
I know,
But it's
I
fascinating.
love it.
I love it too. I think it's the best.
Yeah, I just love trying to make myself a better human and then helping other people, like guide them to become better humans too. Like just better in themselves, whatever way that is. Like, I mean, everyone's so different, so.
Yeah, and that's the best way to do it as well. Like, give the time that you can to yourself to become the best person you can be, and then you're naturally going to give back in a positive way. Because if you're not the best version of yourself, you're going to be unconsciously struggling and fighting for these external needs that you think will validate and find that wholeness within yourself. But only you can find that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would hate to think people are like at home or they're somewhere and they don't feel comfortable or they don't feel comfortable in themselves, and then they're going out there putting this persona on that they're someone else. Like that makes me really, really sad, and it's crazy because I've been through hypnosis, and you know, when I did hypnosis and my inner child, like my little girl, came to me, and when we were going through hypnosis, my, I don't even know what you would call it, hypnotist was like, what would you say to your inner child? Like, what would you tell her? And I was just like, oh my God, like if I knew a little girl that was going through what I went through, like with heartbreak and stuff, I would just want to like squeeze her and be like, it's okay, like you'll get through it. So the aim of the Breathwork Shed is to like provide that space where I can be like, you know, like we're a community, we'll all get through this, we'll all talk about our stuff, and then we'll leave feeling just a little bit better. Next time, a little bit better. Like, you know, just create that safe space where people want to talk about stuff like this.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, it's so good. And we have to feel, we have fundamental human needs, and I guess the bottom tier of that is that we're safe, you know, and we are a social species, and we actually develop through relationship, through interconnectedness. And if you never had that, as you say, the blueprint of life when you through your childhood, or if trauma affected you in subjective ways, you know, there aren't objective measurements as to, you know, oh, your dog died, yeah, but my parents were murdered. Obviously both are terrible, and you would kind of objectively look at parents being murdered as worse, but it doesn't matter because it's how it affected you and how it changed the course of your life. But actually feeling safe to actually be vulnerable and talk openly actually provides a new foundation for you to actually become more powerful.
Yeah, like it's funny because I would love to go to a space, I mean there probably is somewhere, but just like somewhere in Melbourne, and just like, yeah, I just want to sit here, do a little meditation and talk about really crazy shit like that comes up. Or I mean, I thought when I was younger and had my heart broken, I was like, oh, whatever, I was only like 16, like shouldn't be thinking about that shouldn't affect me. That's never affected me. And it does, like stuff affects you from the age of like 5 years old. Like you would just, I don't know, I think I had it in my head like, oh, that's not that bad, or I can get over that. But it's like you can't, like sometimes you really, really can't, and people need to know that that's okay if you can't get over something that happened to you when you were that young.
Yeah, just to ask for help.
Yeah, or just like, you know, create that space where people can come and just chat about stuff like that. Like when I went and met that group in New Mexico when I did the training, oh my God, like everyone was just like so open, everyone shared their story, no one's story was worse or better than others, and everyone was just there to be like, I'm here for you. And I'm like, fuck, if I could just create that group, I wanted to like pack them all and bring them to Melbourne. I'm like, if I can just create that in Melbourne and just get this tiny little community that talks about this all the time, like how much better would you feel? Like if you've been to therapy, or you've been to hypnosis, or you've done a really good fucking training session, like how good do you feel? You do. It's the best feeling.
Yeah, anything that just bumps you up a little bit closer to 10, you know, if you're feeling flat, you're at a 1, a 2, you know, even those little, this is what I love about breathwork so much, is the fact that it's a somatic exercise. Well, it's not talk therapy. It's like reducing that stimulus to the brain, because it's so much oxygen, you know, and all the work is through the body. Like and training and dancing, and it's you. So it gives you that power as well. It's not just, you know, you may speak to a therapist who's giving you these things to do, you know, but you feel like almost that you're just being taught, and you're not actually embarking on your own hero's journey. But when you're actually doing the work yourself, it gives you a sense of purpose, because you're actually embracing the shadow, embracing the fear, embracing the pain, and coming out a better, more transcended, conscious individual.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I really like it too. And just on that as well, you know, it can sound a bit Eastern, woo-woo, all that sort of stuff.
I don't care.
Which is brilliant.
I love that shit.
Yes, which is brilliant. But I just wanted to perhaps like dive into your head a bit more and just discuss about how like trauma can be caught in the body. Because that's a very unusual thing for people that aren't used to this sort of thing, including myself, to say.
Yeah, I think the best way of explaining it is like when something happens to you, like a traumatic, like I had my motorbike accident, the first thing you kind of do is you go and you hold your breath. So every time something happens to you and you go, you're kind of holding it and then you're like pushing it all down, I guess. And the idea of the breathwork is to, you know, bring it back up again and kind of, I wouldn't say get rid of it, but like deal with it, get rid of it. Maybe it's just to kind of bring those stories to light. What was the question? Yeah,
it was just how does trauma get stuck in the body?
Yeah, so like that'll happen and then maybe it'll just spread to other areas of your body. So you've got like the masculine side of your body and the feminine side of your body. So whatever area that affects, maybe when you're breathing, or you've got like your heart, your arms that are attached to your heart. So whatever comes up when you're breathing, that's the kind of the area that I can look at with a person. But yeah, like for me, it got like my forearms. Fuck, I thought I was like hurting myself. Like they were like.
I remember that. Yeah.
They were jammed.
Juicy.
Yeah. And everyone's like, "Oh, you got a forearm injury. Oh, you've got an injury." I don't know, but no one could give me an answer. Not one physio, anyone could be like, "This is what's wrong with your forearms." Went to breathwork and they were like, "Your heart's stuck."
Yeah. But now they're fixed, aren't they?
They're so I'd say they're pretty much there.
Yeah.
They're so, not that I lift barbells or weights anymore, but
no.
They're so much better. Yeah.
I think you mentioned a really good point before with when something traumatic happens, you know, like you go, you hold it in. And that's such a good point. It's like the way it gets stuck in the body is that when something crazy happens, like a lion jumps at you or, you know, something a little bit more contemporary, like falling over on a motorbike or something like that, you actually react unconsciously and you physically react. Then all the fear and the danger signs and the amygdala, the smoke detecting signal bumps off. And then after all of that has happened, you know, everything in your body is just lit up to protect yourself from death. Then your mind starts going crazy with these what ifs. You're going, oh my God, what just happened? What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? And if you've never taken the time to integrate the experience cognitively, it's going to stay in the physical unconscious reaction and the emotional unconscious reaction. So you're always going to be in this triggered what if scenario. And you can have a think about the way fear works is that if it's associated fear, if that something like that happened, think about your triggers. I'm just trying to give some like value to the listeners as well. Like, if you think about your triggers and you think about when something happens in your day-to-day life and fear or anger or resentment or something happens like that, you can normally bring that back to that initial traumatic experience that you actually haven't integrated into your mind. Yes, this happened. I need a plan so that it doesn't happen again, because it's basically saying, hey, you haven't sorted this out yet. You haven't sorted this out yet. What if this happens again? What if this happens again? And you need to be able to give that unconscious processes a plan. And that's what breathwork does. If it's stuck, it comes back up.
Yeah, or there's always like signs. Like I feel like Bali's a fine example. It's like, oh, well, if you don't sort this out, I'm just going to make it worse and worse and worse and worse until bang, I fucking fell off my motorbike and nearly died.
Because it's danger. It's danger. It's danger.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? And fundamentally, like, these things bring people to suicide. You know, these things cause people to suffer for years and years with depression and anxiety.
Like people don't feel like they've got like a space to go to talk about it because some of them think it's like silly. Like, I don't want to talk. That's really stupid. Like I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
Well, why not?
I know.
Why not?
The paradox. It's a bizarre irony, and I was in it for a very long time as well, where it's like this thing is like pushing you to the brink of wanting to end your life, yet superficially it's too silly to talk about.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why, like this, I just wanted to create a space like come and talk about anything that's like bothering you. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about the shed. Let's do it. The Breathwork Shed. That's the name of your business?
Yeah. It's funny because when I was working in the store and these guys came in and I was like, they were there to see the manager, and I was like, as I do, who are you, sort of thing. They're like, oh, we're the building managers. And I was like, oh, you guys don't happen to have a room or a studio or anything I can rent out? And they both, it's my favorite story. And they both looked at each other.
Hang on, How We Met is your favorite story?
No.
Second favorite story.
They looked at each other and then looked at me and walked over, and they're both like, we have a shed. And I'm like, a shed? What? And they're like, lock the door, come out the back, it's just behind here in St Kilda. And I was like, okay, this like all feels really good and exciting. And I went and I saw it, and I'm like, fuck, yes, this is me. I'm not a studio person. I'm not like a fancy cool gym equipment person. I am a shed. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love dingy CrossFit dirty gyms. I love like old school stuff. And when I was looking for studios and they were all coming up, I'm like, oh no, it's just not me. And I didn't want to share because it's just a really sacred space, and I wanted to, I just wanted to make it my own. I've wanted my own space since I was like 16, and I never knew what for until now. And I'm like, right, go. So it's just they call it a shed. It's not a shed. FYI. It's like it's a room. It's about 80 square meters, and it's just like all white walls with a carpet. It's like a naked space that I can just go into and be like, change it,
make it your own.
Yeah. So, well, I got the official go ahead to advertise today. So, which I'm gonna advertise on Sunday, I think.
Today is Thursday night.
Thursday. So I'll just get it live. So follow at the Breathwork Shed on Instagram and the Facebook page, which I need to change. And that's it. And then it's going to be open in September. I'm going to get my classes up and running. So I'm going to ask, I'm going to use my social media to be like, to ask. I want everyone, this is what I mean. I want it to be like a community. So I want people to help me with what times they would want classes. But this is the tricky part because no one knows what it is yet. But I'm still going to put it out there and ask, what time would you maybe come along and do this session? And I want people to help donate things if they've got rugs or, yoga mats or cushions or just stuff. I want everyone to help build it together so they can feel like they can come there and they're like, this is my space too. Yeah.
So good.
I know, I'm so excited. I've done it all backwards in terms of business, but I'm like, if it was just so easy getting it in terms of signing papers, doing this and that, just sorting everything, and the business owner's been really cool, and I know the landlord, it was so easy that I'm like, this is meant to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Now I just need to deck it out, which I'm not even a decorating person, but I'm really excited.
You are. Our bedroom looks lovely.
Yeah. See,
fucking
I feel
way better than if it was me.
I feel like
just shit everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like I'm creating an atmosphere. So I know exactly how I want it. You've seen exactly how I want it in my head, and that's the goal. And anything else will not be allowed in there.
Yes.
I'm like, no shoes, no this. Wine, bring as much wine as you want.
Yes. Just we're trying to get through our own shit and trauma, but depress it all down.
Yeah, I know. And your mum was like, get what's the alcohol licensing thing?
Oh, yeah, the RSA.
I'm like, yes.
True.
Breathwork and wine, that's going to be on there. That's the cool thing. I can just make it my own, which I'm really excited about.
But it's going to be great because, human beings have evolved to require that social construct, that interconnectedness, that trust, rapport, the ability to talk with one another and share things and, tell stories about themselves and about what worked for them and all these sort of hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah, but now you have a fucking highlight reel on social media.
Exactly, which is ironic hypocritical considering what we're doing now. But...
Oh, mate, this is a fucking real podcast here.
Thank you. Number one fan.
We have wine.
Yes, that's true.
This is real shit.
But it's going to be good because, after one collective breathwork session, everyone just becomes best friends with everyone because it's just so raw and honest. And you really do have to try breathwork if you haven't already. But after the end there, you feel like you can express things that you didn't normally think you could, and you grow together as a crew. People that actually want to work on themselves. And you know what? The best thing that I love about, just interviewed Ahern Telford, another breathwork facilitator.
She's amazing.
She is amazing, and she will be episode number 52, I think. So a couple of episodes
Definitely
after this.
listen to that one too. She's great.
She is great, but we were discussing like why this is so important, and it hits at the root of what the most important thing in life is: happiness.
I know.
And purpose and
Well,
meaning,
that's what
but just feeling good in yourself.
Yeah, of course, and that's exactly like what it does.
Yeah. You come to understand more things about yourself.
I've gone from like training the body to feel good to training the mind to feel good.
Yeah, but that's perfect. You've taken the next step, as I did myself. I was training the body, and now I'm really into counselling and talking about the mind.
And you'll be a little counsellor at the Breathwork Shed.
Yes, that's very exciting too.
Have you said this on a podcast yet, that you're a fully qualified counsellor?
No, this will be the first episode.
Come on.
Yes, well, I am a fully qualified counsellor now, which is exciting. And we thought it was really exciting to open up this Breathwork Shed, so that Siobhan could help facilitate this release of stuck energy and trauma and negative past experiences and things. And then I could come in and work with helping the client specifically in trying of re-narrativizing their life based upon what's come up.
Yeah.
So we think it's going to be really, really complementary. It's a very lovely symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
It'll be really exciting. And I can't wait. Hey.
I know, it's going to be so good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Siobhan, what's the biggest lesson you've learnt doing breathwork meditation? About yourself and then about human beings?
About myself, probably just to like not be so hard on myself and to let go. Like that's always a thing that comes through when I'm breathing, like just let go, just let go, just let go sort of thing. So that's definitely a huge thing for me. And what was the second one?
About human beings.
Humans, everyone has shit. Like every single, I say shit, but people might not respond well to that.
Yeah.
But everyone has their stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone always has something to talk about. Like, I just, like, that group of people I was with during the course, it was just like, oh, wow, this is so, like, I just want to recreate this all the time, every day. It was so special. Yeah, it was really cool.
I think that's a really, really good point. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
We're all going to die eventually at one point.
Yeah.
Why not try to help each other?
Yeah.
Just by listening,
just, like,
perhaps.
have fun doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm like, if it's fun, like, I love, like, drinking wine. Like, if it's fun for you to come and breathe and have a glass of wine, yes. Like, I love drinking coffee. Just, like, yeah, make it easy and have fun with it. Like, I think people are like, oh, you're spiritual. Like, but, yeah. But I make it fun.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm happier than I was.
Yeah.
Fuck Steve.
I love it. I'm like excited for people to be like, ugh, I'm gonna meditate. Fine, bye.
Yeah. But the Breathwork Shed's going to be fun too. Like you're going to get like a coffee truck there and have like dinner nights and people can talk about whatever the fuck they want. Movie nights.
Oh, absolutely. Like I've literally...
Just have a community of people that want to grow more.
Yeah. I want to say tribe, but that's another word that people don't like. It's going to be a tribe.
The Breathwork tribe? Fuck it, say it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
No, I'm like so excited. It's just
I'm excited
for you. I just need to get
for
it out there. Thanks. I just need to like get it out there and hope that people come and have fun.
And that first thing you said as well, like the biggest lesson you've learnt to not be so hard on yourself. And I've just seen your growth throughout you beginning to do this as you've fundamentally changed my life as well. Everyone, all our close friends say I've changed way more, which is kind of like an example of where I was. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about now. But
probably shows where I was.
It shows where you were. Yeah, exactly. No, I know it's been good, but I think we both helped each other, and that's been really good. But what you said before, I really liked as well, Vonnie. It was being so hard on yourself, and kind of every message you get is just to like let go and chill out. And I think when you've applied that, when shit that used to be hard isn't hard anymore. Yeah.
Well, that's what even about this like. In my head, I'm like, okay, shit, like, I really want to do this, but, like, does that mean, like, I'm a business owner and I have to open a business and I have to, like, know all this and know all this? And I really gave myself, like, a hard time thinking about it, and I'm like, is this gonna be that hard that I'm thinking of? And then like those two guys just like walked in, and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Do you have a place? They're like, we've got a shed. And then it was like, here's the lease, so we need this from you and that. And then everything was like do. And then today it was like whatever, it's signed, go advertise. And I'm like, that was so fucking easy.
Yeah.
And then I said to you, I'm like, why doesn't everyone do this? Because I thought this is going to be like, there is going to be obviously hard times, but there's hard times doing everyday jobs. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And that was an example. And then the example was like, I like to say the universe being like, you know, this is meant to be. I'm just going to make it super easy for you. And it has been up till now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in there.
Yeah. Well, I feel like when you...
No, it has been.
Yeah. Like when you remove those resistances, like water that takes the path of least resistance down to the creek, you essentially become like water. And it's just like, oh, wow, I've just found this lane that feels very, very easy for me to walk.
Yeah.
You know?
And and as you know, coming back to Melbourne, like for me, it was like,
was challenging.
I'm not going back there.
Yeah. You didn't want to come back?
No, not at all.
For a multitude of reasons.
Yeah. And now I'm here and I'm like...
happiest I've seen you in a long time.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm meant to be here, and I'm meant to be in the Breathwork Shed, and you know, everything. I'm looking back and I'm like, oh, I was really meant to be here. Like that space is so perfect for me right now, like where I'm at right now. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic takeaway from what you've been talking about, Vaughn. It's like when it's not hard anymore. You know, you'll know that you've done work when stuff that used to be hard isn't hard anymore. Relationships, even just sitting for 5 minutes. If now you can do that really well, you can do it for 10 minutes. Congratulations. Sitting for 5 minutes isn't hard anymore. Well, they say when you can tell the story without getting upset or emotional, you know you're on your way of recovering. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Because you've integrated the experience. I love that. Yeah. Vaughn, I love you loads. Love you too. You'll be coming on the show frequently. Yeah. For sure. As we grow the counselling and the Breathwork Shed together, and hopefully as we grow together. Yeah. So I'm getting nervous. So and where can people find you? So the Instagram will be, I think I've got it as like the.breathwork.shed, and at Siobhan Macleod on Instagram. I've not been active in ages because I've been doing all this sort of stuff, but I'm excited to get back on there. And Facebook, I still need to change the name. So you got any suggestions? If I've not. It's currently Siobhan Macleod Porn Diva. Hey, that would get people in there. That would get me in there. Like, fuck yeah. So Breathwork Facilitator. Yeah, it'll be something along the lines of that. So sweet. Yeah, find me on Facebook as well, and YouTube. Yes. YouTube is where I've put my, like, every day when I was doing the course, like day 1, day 2 sort of thing. So I'm on YouTube, and I'll be way more active on there when the shed's... I'm going to actually try and do like a vlog of the shed, and, you know, like kind of like a time lapse of how it looks right now to what it's going to look like, hopefully. And if anyone has any white cushions, white rugs, white mats, anything white, feel free to donate them to the shed. You can email me. Yeah. Love it. Cool. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Pleasure. And we'll do it, I'm sure, in the near future. Yes. Love you all. Bye-bye. Alright guys, that was the episode with Siobhan Macleod, my lovely partner. She's still here. I know. Yeah. Obviously. Yeah. We live together. We do live together. I know. That was an awesome episode. Guys, the Breathwork Shed will be opening September 1st. Let's just say September. Early September. In case some shit goes down. Okay, early September to keep us on with it though. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. That's cool. So Siobhan, you are available now though for one-on-ones. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Breathwork facilitation. Yeah. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about yourself, looking into some of your habitually ingrained patterns of behavior, you know, fears, resistances, triggers, things like that. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Right, hit you up? Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Anytime, go for it. Yeah, anything, definitely. Even if you don't want to come breathe. And can I just say, I'm not biased by any means, but I did a one-on-one with Siobhan actually. Yeah. And I don't cry that much. This might scare people. Shh. It doesn't, no, it was a beautiful experience. I don't cry that much.
I just naturally don't cry that much. You know, I feel like I'm relatively in touch with my feelings, but I just don't fucking cry that much. And I bawled my eyes out by the end of it, just in this pure state of joy and bliss.
Yeah.
I just had so many messages come through, and it was really, really good. It was really good. And I'm obviously a little bit biased, but I'm not biased to the point that I would say I would absolutely do it again.
Yay!
So it was really good. And personally, guys, MindMate Counselling, I'm now certified, and I can't wait to speak to you guys about things that you would like to speak about, you know, stuck patterns of behavior, similar sort of stuff, but essentially creating a new narrative for your life, you know, the things that have helped me the most in my life, and you can read that in my book, some of the stuff that I want to apply my counselling relationship with my clients to. So there's that. The audiobook is coming out very, very shortly, and you can keep up to date with me on Instagram, tom.ahern, and you can leave a rating and review if you really do love this podcast. Please do. I love the rating so far on iTunes. And most importantly, guys, I love you all. Thank you so much for sticking with the show for its humble beginnings. And I never want to stop doing this. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. I love talking to people, and I love hearing from you. So love you all, and bye-bye.